Don't ever strike a hammer with another hammer. They're both hardened metal. They can fracture each other and chip, and those chips can come off like a bullet. Go to a dead blow. A nice dead blow like this, you can strike that. Today we're talking about some of the hammers that I use in the shop here. I have a variety of hammers for a variety of different uses. We'll start with the bag hammers. These are basically nylon shaped hammers. We picked these up at KMS. They have different weights, so this one's actually quite a nice heavy hammer. This is one that I've been typically using. This is the one for shaping aluminum in the Sandbag. And this is another one too that's a really good hammer. Again, it's got a little more weight. You know, they're shaped kind of like a baseball bat. If you were to picture a nylon baseball bat and then machined down into a round point, that's kind of that feel or look and size that it has. These also can be used as tuck shrink hammers, although a tuck shrink hammer is also a little different. All of these hammers that I have here in the nylon are used on the Sandbag. So you can put your piece of metal on the Sandbag. You can use these. They've got a good weight to them for hammering the shape. They're very durable. If they get chipped up or scraped up, you can sand them down and smooth them out again, which is really nice. It's a nice feature. Well, these are ball-peen hammers, machinist hammers. You know, you'll find these in any metalworking shop, machine shop. They have a flat end and then a nice blunt round end. You know, they're a fiberglass handle. They're a nice hammer. But we were talking about something that a lot of people might not know. Don't ever strike a hammer with another hammer. They're both hardened metal, and what happens is when you strike two hard hammers together, they can fracture each other and chip, and those chips can come off like a bullet. And in fact, I did that, and it got me right in the stomach and just lodged a piece of metal in me. So just a future reference, if you're ever working with hammers and you want to strike a hammer with another hammer, go to a dead blow. A nice dead blow like this, you can strike that. You can even strike it with a brass hammer. But don't ever strike it with another hardened steel hammer, because they're not meant to be hit to each other and they will fracture each other. Over here is a little bit more of a specialty hammer. So these are my Martin body hammers. So these are used for hammering small dints out and body working sheet metal. If you're in the automotive trade and doing any kind of metal work, these are the tools to get into tight areas. This tool, you can see it's got a unique shape to it. So this is for doing door seams. So when you are making a new skin for a door and you want to wrap that skin around the edge of the door, this is what you use with a dolly underneath to hammer that door edge down nice. This is also like a little pick, so you can pick out smaller dints. And then again with the dolly, these have a nice face on them for striking a dolly and smoothing out small repairs on automotive industry. This is only 3 of probably 20 or 30 types of hammers you can get for the automotive industry. A larger hammer, I have a variety of these, basically kind of a nylon plastic. The smaller ones even have sand. So what these have, these are kind of like a dead blow hammer, and they're filled with sand. This one has a brass end for having a harder hit than just the plastic. But these, I don't know if you can hear that, but these have weighted sand in them, and the sand works as kind of like a, what do you call it, like G-forces inside the hammer to give you a stronger blow. So when you hit, that sand piles up into the blow and strikes a stronger force, and so they call these a dead blow hammer. And these are great for something that you need to move and heavy hitting, but you still don't want to damage the surface like you would with a steel hammer. These are awesome for that. So this hammer is kind of a combination hammer. This has got the nylon end and the rubber end, and it's great for softer materials that you don't want to damage. You can be used in the bodywork industry too. You know, it has a little bit harder end for this side if you really want to move the material, and then again, for light work, this has got the rubber end, and I like just having these on hand because you never know when you're going to need a soft blow hammer. You don't want to damage the finish if you're trying to knock something loose. Great in the automotive industry if you don't want to put dents in your suspension and you're trying to knock something out. This is more of a machinist hammer. So this is made out of a solid piece of brass. An old timer that that comes around often and visits me, and he's a metal worker from all the way back into the World War II. He's made these hammers over the years, and it's just a solid brass hammer. These are great for drift pins and things like that, that if you're driving a pin in and you don't want to flare that pin out and mushroom the end of it. So they have a good weight to them, and they'll mushroom out a little bit. And then the nice thing is you can take them over to the belt sander and the grinder, and you can clean them up, take the mushrooming off, give it a brand new end. This one is kind of a particular favorite of mine because my friend Cliff signed it. People like him, they're not going to be around forever, and they've been around a long time, and they have lots of tricks and tips and things I've learned off of him over the years. And a great friend of mine. So I'm just going to keep this as a memento, keep it in the drawer, and I probably won't be using this one. And then finally, out of my hammers, I have the, it's kind of a dead blow. It's a rubber hammer. These are great for striking something that you don't want to damage. They will also flex, being rubber. So when you're hammering, like say if you have a dolly and you've got a piece of metal on there and you want to put a little bit of shape into that metal, you can actually hit it really hard with a rubber hammer, and when the rubber hammer strikes a round object like that, it'll form to that object a little bit, and it'll actually slowly work the metal around the dolly that you're using, and they work really good for metal shaping. So a lot of guys that do metal shaping, they always want to jump to the bag and think that they need tools, but a rubber hammer and a dolly will shape metal incredibly fast, and you can have different shapes of dollies. You could have a round end. You could have a piece of rod like I have here. This can go in a vise, even though this is my stainless hammer and I use this to work with stainless and hammer stainless. I make these out of round bar, and they're a fun little project to make, and they won't contaminate the stainless when you're working with stainless, so they're great for that. But again, you can make your own dies, and using a rubber hammer is a great way it'll shape metal, it'll shape sheet metal, it'll shape aluminum, and to some degree it'll shape stainless too if you're working with thin gauge stainless. So this is just some of the hammers I use and some of the purposes we use them for, and I'm sure this is only the beginning of a collection that I'll have. Thanks for watching our channel today, and I hope this gave you a little bit of knowledge about some of the hammers that we use, and thanks for subscribing, and don't forget to hit the notification bell and get all our new videos updated.